Oh, shoot. What's up, y'all? Hold on a second. My bad. Hold on a second, y'all. Sorry about that. Hey, everybody. Hey, you guys. Happy Thursday to everybody, and I hope everybody is well. Welcome. Um, Listen. So, thank you, Miss B. Carter Child. That's my AI picture, honey. That's my AI picture. Um, let's get into some things. So, first of all, you guys know that I had told you guys that today. First of all, rewind. First of all, shout out to my boy Mims. Shout out to my boy Mims. That was a great interview with Allison Jordan, Drew's sister. But I hate calling people, like, oh, Drew's sister, because what we found out tonight is that her resume is extensive. And Drew sort of gave us a little bit of her resume on the show. But it was really nice to hear her tell her story, and we're gonna get into it in a second. But I want to give my boy Mims a shout out. It was a great interview. And at one, I don't know how high the number got, but I know at one point he had almost 4,000 people in the chat. So shout out to you, sweetheart. Y'all know Mims is my friend in real life. And you guys know I told you that Mims and I were going to do a hot topics tonight, right? Well, he called me yesterday and he said, look, I got some good news and I got some bad news. And I said, well, what's going on? What's up? And he said, well, the good news is I got my interview with Allison, because he's been trying to get that interview, right? This didn't just happen overnight. He's been working on that interview. He said, but the bad news is she's going to do it. She's going to do it tomorrow night at the time we said we would do our hot topics. I said, now, you know good and well that I ain't mad about that. You know what I'm saying? You know good and well that I ain't mad about that, and so I was over there. Now I clicked off about maybe 10 minutes ago. So if it was any tea dropped in the last 10 minutes, I missed it. I clicked off when he said, okay, we're going to get out of here. So I thought they were ending it because I wanted to go take care of some stuff before I went live. So I hope she ain't dropped no tea in the last 10 minutes. But anyway, so you guys are coming from over there. Welcome. And yeah, he had 3.5. Yes, Mims. Yes, boo. Listen, y'all know I'm always here to celebrate with my friends. So, and if you guys are not subscribed to Make It Make Sense, y'all make sure y'all get over there, y'all subscribe, and y'all watch the whole interview, because we're just gonna talk about the highlights. I'm not gonna tell y'all everything because I want y'all to go over there and give him the click and the view. Okay, so let me say hi to my people real quick, especially my people that are lit up in green. That means that you are members on this channel, and I appreciate you. Ravine, Amber, Nico, Marley, Kimberly Johnson, Lil Baby, JP, Russo, Miss Cookie Ray, Cool Gamer, Just Simply, Mama Mina, Ray, hey, self-care not selfish, Miss ... Yes, Montrez, yes. We're probably going to reschedule for next week, JP. Hey, Vintage, Malicia, I hope I said your name right, Malicia Man. Hey, Janae, what's going on? Self-care said, hey, y'all, I'm watching YouTube earlier. Candy strike their channel for showing the unedited court. Yeah. That was Jay Lee's corner. Yeah, she got that strike. Somebody else said something else. I'm sorry. I thought I missed something else. Okay, so hey, Dominique. Hey, you guys. Hey. So let me say this. It was a great interview, and I'm just gonna go through some of my notes and some of my highlights. And I also have another good video. I'm gonna make the announcement at the end for y'all to go watch. It was another really good interview where some tea was dropped earlier today, but I want to say that at the end, so y'all don't let me forget. Little baby, don't let me forget at the end and tell y'all about another good video for y'all to go check out. Okay. Hey, what's up, Keisha? So for those who do not know, Allison Jordan is Drew Sidora's sister. Now, the first thing she cleared up was that she is her sister. She said, that is not my daughter. My mama actually carried her. She said, and I was mad at my mama. She said, I was mad at my mama because I was in my 20s. Nobody wants to think about their mama being pregnant, right? While they're in their full 20s. She said, first of all, I was upset because I just thought that I was going to end up becoming, the built-in babysitter, right? She said, and then she was like, and then I was looking at my parents like, y'all still doing that? But she said she absolutely is not Drew's mama, like biological mama. That is her blood sister. So that's the first thing she cleared up. But baby, they look like twins. She really does look like an older version of Drew. They have the same facial structure and lips and smile. Oh my goodness. So she talked about the fact that Drew, thank you, Remain Teachable. Oh, and speaking of which, y'all let me know when y'all see Feel Good. Let me know when Feel Good drops down. Thank you for the super sticker, my love. She said that she moved out to LA, and that Drew came out to live with her when she was a kid, and to work in Hollywood. So she said Drew's been a working actor since she was 9 years old. And I don't think a lot of people understand that Drew was a child actor. And again, being an actor or actress and being a star are two different things. And I don't mean that to be any shade at Drew, but what I'm saying, I think a lot of times people think, oh, well, I didn't hear about her till the game, or I didn't know about her. That doesn't mean she wasn't working. That doesn't mean she wasn't doing things and in productions and things like that. What's up, Ed? Montrez said their voices even sounded like they both have that, because Drew has a very calming voice, right? Even when she's upset, it's still not that elevated, right? So I thought that was important. She said that basically she said she did pretty much raise Drew, because Drew lived with her when she was younger out in LA. And that her mom would come out and stay for a couple of months at a time, but that she pretty much, that she said she was her acting coach, she was her manager, all of those things. We talked a little bit about her resume, which I think is important because I think it's important because I think it's important for us to see her as more than just. I think it's important for us to see her as more than just Drew's sister, right? So we find out that she worked for the William Morris Agency. She ran Wesley Snipes' company for a few years, she said, before he went to jail. She was, she said she started off as a production assistant, which is, a glorified assistant, she worked on, before Rock. Oh, Amen. She worked on Amen. She said that Clifton Davis was a friend of the family, and that's sort of how she got the job. She worked on Rock, and she talked about how Jamie Foxx originally was supposed to be on the original Rock, but after the read-through, it didn't quite work out. But then Jamie Foxx ended up being on Rock later on. If you guys remember Rock, which I do, Rock started off, it was a really great show, but in the last, maybe the last season or the last 2 seasons, they started doing their shows live. And that was a big deal because, people just don't do shows live. But because so many of the stars on Rock had a Broadway background, performing live in front of a studio audience just wasn't a big deal. But it was a nice catch, because people wanted, if nothing else, they're going to tune in to see if you mess up, right? And Jamie Foxx was on those later seasons, so she talked about how Jamie Foxx slept on her floor, and she talked about how, back in the 80s and the 90s, before the Shonda Rhimes, she specifically spoke on Shonda Rhimes, but she talked about how Black Hollywood, especially the TV side of Black Hollywood, really, they were one big happy, I don't want to say one big happy family, but they definitely networked together, and they hung out together, and they moved in the same spaces because there just weren't that many spaces for Black actors and actresses in Hollywood. And a lot of them knew each other in the early days, and they when they were poor and they didn't have nothing but, but a wing and a prayer. She said we would get together and we would have potluck dinners because that's how we could all eat. I bring the potatoes, you bring this, you bring that, and that way we can all eat for a couple of days, And so when she, as I heard her talking about the people, it wasn't even in a bragging way. It was in a look. We all knew each other. We all came up together. We all walked these streets together. She talked about the UPNs and the CWs. And you guys, again, if you're old enough to remember, I remember all of that, right? I remember all of that. So, Mim Slage's interview, and I'm loving watching the Dream Team glow up. Yes! Thank you so much. Yes, yes, yes. Mims definitely did. He definitely did a good job. I think he was fair. Now we're gonna get there because I got some stuff to say now. But he definitely was a really great interview and a fair interview. Then we sort of get into her mental health background, and she started telling her story in a little bit more detail than what we got on the show, which is understandable. Of course, the show is going to edit it, and we're going to get the short version of the story. But she said that during the Panorama, she decided that she was going to write her memoir, which I would be here for because I'm sure she got some stories to tell. Even if she don't tell us who these people are, I think the stories and the fun of us trying to figure out who these people are, I think would be a great thing. So she sat down to write her memoirs, her autobiography. She said, we were stuck in a house. Why not? Well, as she started telling these stories, she started realizing she had repressed things. She started realizing that she had repressed things. She remembered being violated as a child on 2 separate occasions by family members. The boyfriend in college that she did talk about on the show, that was very abusive. And she said it triggered a lot of things to the point where she started having panic attacks. But she didn't realize that they were panic attacks in the moment. She thought she was having heart attacks. And so she kept going to the hospital. Now, I'm sure that this woman showing up at the emergency room in the middle of the Panorama with these over and over and over again, the same symptoms, probably was something that was a trigger that made, she said that basically she kept going to the same hospital and they kept telling her, girl, you fine. You're not having a heart attack. That last time they called and they got her transferred to a mental hospital. And, she was diagnosed with PTSD. She was diagnosed with depression and anxiety, and I think it was something else. And she even explained how one triggers the other, that triggers the other. She said the fact that she was having anxiety attacks and panic attacks, she didn't identify them as that. So she wasn't treating them as that. You thinking you're having a heart attack when you're really having an anxiety attack. It's a different way that you would handle it. So I thought that was great for her to really break down what happened and how it happened. So then she talked about when she came home from the hospital, how her husband, because she's still currently married, was helping nurse her back to health. And then one day he left to go to the store and he never came back. And she said she has only seen him one time since he left, which was over a year ago. I said, say what? Not the baby, I need a pack of cigarettes and you just don't never come back. I said, say what? So she said that she understands, what Drew is really dealing with, because she said she didn't want to get too deep into it. She told Mam's baby, that's part 2 for me to get into my whole marriage situation. But we also find out that she was married. Her former husband was an NBA player. He played for the Chicago Bulls during the heyday of the Chicago Bulls. He won multiple championships. And she talked about how I don't want to use the word ruined his career, but he sort of ruined his career by speaking up for Rodney King and during that time period. And of course, hell, we saw how professional sports responded to Black Lives Matter, George Floyd, Colin Kaepernick. So I can only imagine what that looked like in the early 90s, situation. So she said that he did actually end up suing the NBA for collusion because somebody did verify that a memo went out about her husband saying, yeah, nobody can hire him. Y'all, nobody can hire him. Later on, he did end up working for Phil Jackson. I guess Phil Jackson felt guilty and gave him a job working for the LA Lakers and yada, yada, yada. So she said her and her ex-husband are still very good. They have a very good relationship because they have a child together and they do a really good job of co-parenting. Okay. So, well, you got, Nikki said, I lived that life, a serious panic attack. Hold on. We'll have you in the ER getting EKGs. It also raises your blood pressure because of the fear. They run all physical tests before they determine it's anxiety. Well, you guys know, I don't know if you guys remember, those of you who were around during the Panorama, y'all know my niece was living with me during that time, and she had actually caught C19. She actually had it, and one night she just felt like she couldn't breathe. And so I rushed her to the hospital. I had to wait outside. I couldn't go inside, all of that. And they ran the EKG and they did all these different tests. And that's what they determined, that she had just had a panic attack. When they tell you what the symptoms are and you start feeling like you're having those symptoms. So they tell you, oh, it affects your lungs and it affects your breathing. And I think she was having problems breathing, but then it just kicked it in and she felt like she couldn't breathe. And so, she absolutely had a panic attack that night. Scared the hell out of me too. Miss Kiki said that she asked her husband if he knew Craig Hodges and he remembers him from the Bulls. Yeah. Oh yeah. She was okay. She was okay. By the time they ran a couple of tests and stuff, and they just said it was her anxiety. Just being scared. Just being scared. So yeah. So, oh, tell them I said hi, boo. Okay, so then we start getting into the Real Housewives, right? Because she wanted to address some of the things. Yeah, Craig Hodges. Some of the things that were said on the show, that were said on Candy's interview, and so forth and so on. So I'm gonna go through my notes and we'll talk about it. So the first thing I have in my notes, I said, she said that Ralph is coaching Courtney because he tried to coach her and tried to turn her against Drew. Ralph, Allison said that, we know that this season she moved back in with Drew, to help her through her recovery. I guess it's after her husband left her, honey, and went to get them cigarettes. And she said that Ralph was actually trying to coach her and get her to turn against her sister. She did not go into a lot of details about that, but she said that she absolutely feels like that's what he was doing with Courtney. We're gonna get to the what did she say? Unverified non-cousin Courtney or fake cousin Courtney child. That thing was hilarious. She was like, oh no, she ain't cousin nothing. But we're gonna get to that. So, and she sort of alluded to what a lot of us have been saying about Miss Courtney, but we're gonna get there, child. We're gonna get there. She said that Tampa is absolutely a thing. She said it is not fake. USCC, unverified cousin Courtney. Okay. She said it is absolutely not fake. She said that what a lot of people don't know is that she filmed with Drew season 1. Well, Drew's first season on the show. She said Drew FaceTimed me and said, I don't know where he is. I really think he left. She said, and that wasn't for the cameras. That was just her calling her sister saying, I don't know where my husband went. He's gone. So she said that the Tampa thing absolutely was not fake. It was not for a storyline. She said that is actually something. And she said that she did film for the show with Drew, during FaceTime calls. And she said she was actually managing Drew at the time of her being her first season on Housewives. She was managing Drew. Phil, thanks for dropping down. Thank you so much for the Cash App. I forgot to say that yesterday. Thank you for your Cash App and for supporting my classroom. I appreciate you, sweetheart. There it is. Unverifiable fake cousin Courtney. Y'all keep dropping it in the chat. I know that's right. Hashtag UFCC. Okay. So, somebody said it's giving Tom Sandoval from Vanderpump Rules. Yeah. Well, let me say that, Xavier. Well, since Xavier said it, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna address that. Xavier said, I don't think anyone questioned whether Tampa was real. We just questioned, girl, why are you still there? And what Courtney, let me say this. I have not changed my opinion on Drew. Let me be clear. I like Allison. I loved her interview. I loved her candor. And I loved her defending her sister. That's what you're supposed to do. But I ain't changed my mind about Drew. Drew is a liar. And if she said, tell me what Drew done lied about, tell me what she done lied about, tell me what she done lied about, child, how many ways? I mean, we have caught Drew in lies repeatedly for 3 years. And I mean, sometimes people say, oh, it's a little lie, it's not a big deal. But I mean, even I just throw one out there. The court case where she said that when the woman that it started off at $1,000, but when the woman went down to court, she filed paperwork for $10,000, and the producer showed the paperwork for $1,000. That kind of shit. Hey, Patches. That, you know, to me, it's a little lie, but it's a lie, and it was a lie that was easily disputed, right? That's the kind of stuff that we talking about. You know what I'm saying? But I will say this. One thing that she said that I do understand and I understand and I respect was the way that they were raised was that you keep your business in-house. Now, before y'all start talking about, but she signed up for a reality show. I get that. I'm with y'all on that one. But I understand the thought process of, you know, I'm going to protect my husband. I'm not going to put it out there, you know. And then she said that there would be times when they would have conversations about what they are or aren't going to share or what they're going to say or not say. And then the cameras would start and Ralph would go left. And Ralph would talk about something totally different than what they had agreed to. Now, I thought that was interesting because now you're admitting that y'all be planning what you're gonna say and what you're not gonna say, which everybody does, I know, but you might not have needed to say that's what you was gonna say, child. That's really sick of Ralph leaving her like that to go to Tampa. Hold on. Leaving her like that to go to Tampa, knowing her sister went through the same thing with her current husband. It's almost like he was trying to traumatize her. You see what I'm saying? I will say this poor promotional advertising for her and her crisis management business. How can you get me out of my crisis when you bring in the crisis with you? I'm not sure I understand that one. Okay. Yeah, that was weird. I was with Allison until she said that, but I guess she's covering. Yeah, I mean, that was Allison going into sister mode, honestly. Because Allison, if you've been watching this show and you've watched every episode of this show, child, your sister been caught in a lot of lies. A lot of lies. Multiple. And I mean, again, some of them people would say, well, it's petty. But again, I just feel like if you're lie about the little stuff, you're lie about the big stuff. Again, that doesn't change how I feel about Ralph either. I think Ralph does gaslight Drew, and I think that Ralph does want people to think badly of Drew. I do. Hey, Cindy J. Okay, so let me go back to my notes because I don't want to forget something. Okay. Yeah, I wrote that in my notes. I don't know about all this Drew don't lie. I literally wrote that in my notes. So then she gets into cousin Courtney. She said, first of all, cousin Courtney is not a cousin. She is unverifiable. And she even told the story about how they went down, her and Drew were down in Ralph's hometown in, I think she said Ennis, North Carolina, where allegedly that's how they found out that they were family, is because she's from there, he's from there, and they started comparing notes on who they knew and who they didn't know. She said that baby, she started asking around and didn't nobody know her. She said it's a small town where everybody knows everybody. She said literally they just walk around. They don't even have. She said they walk around barefoot and go from house to house and they hang out with each other. And everybody know everybody. And then nobody know Courtney. Nobody knew her. She said she was even showing pictures of Courtney and nobody knew her. They didn't know her. She said they was calling each other. You know her. You know her. Let me tell you something. I 100% believe that. Because I told you that wasn't her cousin. I told you that woman won't nobody's cousin. And I believe that. And I absolutely believe, let me tell you something. I lived in North Carolina for 6 years, and I know that there are absolutely towns like that in North Carolina that still exist where everybody know everybody. I don't know Ennis. I'm not familiar with it. I'm not sure where it is, but baby, I believe it. And I believe ain't nobody know her. Because I have been in those areas where everybody know everybody. Everybody know everybody. Courtney said they weren't actual blood cousins. Did they not ask Ralph how? Right. They said they were cousin-in-laws, but they said that the reason why they knew each other or they made the connection is because they were both had family from Ennis, North Carolina, and Courtney would spend summers there and Ralph would spend summers there. And she even said it in her interview with Candy. It's crazy that we both spent the night in the same under the same roof in the same house. We both spent time in the same houses. That's what Courtney had said. So she did say they were cousin-in-laws. But she said that they spent time in the same places and they slept in the same houses as kids growing up. They spent summers in the same in this. That's what she has said. Now, she talked about the first time she met Courtney. And let me tell you something. This story, I believe this story too, because it sounds like the same thing she did to Candy. She said they met, they were at a club or a lounge or something like that. And she said, Allison said that people kept wanting to take pictures with Drew. And when people were wanting to take pictures with Drew, she said Courtney would tell people, I'm a housewife too. I'm a housewife too. First of all, you're not a housewife. You're a friend of. You don't hold no peaches. That's number one. Number two, you ain't supposed to be telling people. And number three, so what? They ain't want to take no picture with you before or after. So Courtney said, Allison said that while they were talking, Courtney started talking about how they knew some of the same people in Chicago. And she was like, oh, I know her. Oh, that's my girl. Oh, yeah, I know them. Oh, I know them. And y'all know what happens. And because I've done this before too. You meet somebody that knows somebody. You be like, oh, what? That's my girl. Let me send her a text. Or let me call her on FaceTime and let her know I'm with you. People do it all the time. Baby, Allison said she got ready to pull that phone out and call somebody. And Courtney said, oh, no, I don't want them to know I'm on the show yet. Don't tell them. You mean you don't want your so-called, your homegirl, your girl, your bestie, you don't want her to know that you on the show, but you just told some random person up in the club because you wanted them to take a picture with you. You mean that person? Baby, Allison said when she finally did get around to calling her friends and asking her friends about Courtney, baby, they said they don't know her. But as she's telling this story, I said that's the exact same thing she did to Candy. The exact same thing she did to Candy. Courtney and Blockhead's relationship ain't adding up. Child, they kissing cousins like y'all said in the chat. I like Allison, but I feel like she needs to keep it real with her sister. She's a beautiful liar. I said beautiful liar. Habitual liar. And she needs to tell her to clean it up and be your authentic self and stop playing that character. Ooh. Ooh, wait. Now, Allison did go off on this whole kiss the girl thing. Listen. Now, look. I enjoyed. Hey, Scotty. I know, right? Now, let me tell y'all something. I enjoyed this interview, and I enjoyed Allison. But Allison, my love. Child, Drew kissed that girl. And she liked it. Okay? No, I wasn't there. I wasn't in the room. I wasn't even around. But put a 1 in the chat if you believe that Drew kissed Latoya down to the Bolo show a couple of seasons ago. Put a 1 in the chat if you believe that Drew kissed that girl. Allison said, I mean, who cares? It's not a big deal. I mean, I kissed a girl in college. That is so totally different. I look at all these ones. Look at all these ones. Now, Allison, I know that's your sister, and you doing what you're supposed to do. You are doing what you're supposed to do. But listen, nobody buying that. Nobody buying that, Allison. Nobody's buying it. Your sister kissed that girl. And at the end of the day, we don't care. I'm just saying. Not faces were wet. Why is everyone so okay with Drew cheating on her husband? I don't think anybody's okay with it. I just think that none of us believe that it didn't happen. I'm not okay with her cheating on her husband no more than I'm okay with him disappearing and going to Tampa. But if it happened, it happened. When I say I don't care, I mean I don't care from the point of view of for her to go through all this line. Now she's lying to save face from Ralph. There it is. But according to Ralph, Drew told him. I mean, according to Ralph, Drew said that it happened. So, child. Look at Abby. Y'all know, listen, let me tell y'all something about Abby not watching nothing and don't know nothing, but always got an opinion on something. Anyway. All right. Spoke on nephew. That's next on my notes. So, she talked about the fact that, and I didn't realize this, that Drew's oldest son doesn't want to be on the show. I'm sure that after they made that whole storyline about Ralph trying to adopt him and the father and all that stuff, he probably don't want to deal with none of them. Now, what Allison told us is that Ralph did give him his last name. So the oldest son has Ralph's last name, but no, he did not legally adopt him. But for Courtney to make the comments that she made was just rude to speak on the nephew like that and to talk about the nephew like that. It was just rude. And she was very upset by that. And I can understand that too. Right, Amber. I agree. I like Allison too, even though again, that's your sister. You defended her, but child, I don't believe it. I ain't with you on that one. She doesn't feel when they played the clip, because of course they didn't play the actual clip, they just played the sound bite because ain't nobody trying to get no channels struck around here. Mims made the comment about Candy looked visibly upset when Courtney made the comment, I've been a better friend to Ralph in the last 6 months than Drew was a wife in 8 years. And Allison brought up a good point. Now, y'all know I like Candy, but Allison brought up a good point. If Candy was uncomfortable, she shouldn't have posted it. First of all, if you watch that video, whether you watch the first version or the second version of that speak on it, you can tell it is very heavily edited. Even before they took it down and put it back up, if you saw the original speak on it, it is very heavily edited. And I say all that to say, I can only imagine what they didn't show us if those are the things that they kept in. I can only imagine what Courtney said that Candy was like, okay, no, that's too far. That's too much. For them to keep in what they kept in. I told y'all the other day, my opinion, that I feel like Candy, and it may not have worked out. It may not have worked out. But I told y'all that I honestly feel like Candy was like, oh, I'm going to let the world see who Courtney really is. Like, I'm going to let them see the Courtney we've been working with for the last year. Like, I'm going to let them see this person. You know what I'm saying? And maybe kind of backfire because she's getting a lot of the brunt. She's getting a lot of the brunt of it. But I don't know. I kind of feel like she knew how bad it was. I don't think she anticipated as much of the backlash coming at her, but I think she knew how bad it was. And again, if this is what we saw, I can only imagine what we did not see. So then we get on to the medicine, the part where Courtney talked about her throwing back the shots of tequila and being drunk and all that stuff. Well, she didn't say drunk, but she said drinking a lot and that it would mix with her meds. So first of all, Allison was like, first of all, I want to know when she saw my medical records. Like, how does she know what medicine I'm taking and what I'm not taking? She said, I'm not on anything that would adversely react with alcohol. Like I can drink alcohol, basically. She was like, and who are you to say what I can and can't drink? And then the comment where she was like, well, I try to stay away from her because, she does have the mental health issues. And Allison was like, like you acting like I was some zombie walking around with a straitjacket on. Like, what does that mean? You tried to stay away from me because of my mental health issues. And she said, part of the reason why she wanted to do the interview is because she wanted to speak on that stigma. Even we know Candy made a comment about, well, she doesn't look like, And she was like, but what does that look like? Like, what do you mean she doesn't look like that? Like, what does it look like? Right. And I think that all of us have said that. All of us have had that conversation over the last couple of days, especially people who have either dealt with mental health themselves or have dealt with it around them, family members, friends, or what have you. Like, I think most of us, I shouldn't say most, a lot of people know that there's no look to mental health, right? And I just think that for both of them, Candy and Courtney, I just think that was a very ignorant point of view. Right? She spoke about the reunion. And she said that because Courtney said, well, somebody from Drew's camp told me that they basically liquored her up and then sent her to come and confront me. And Allison was like, that's not what happened. She said, I was already out there because I had walked Drew back to set. And I was walking back and I saw her come out of her dressing room and walk into Ralph's dressing room. She said, first of all, we didn't even know why Ralph was there. According to Allison, Ralph asked to be at the reunion. Now, here's what I think happened. I believe that Ralph had an invitation to the reunion. Why wouldn't he? Number one, they always bring the husbands. And number two, with everything going on between Ralph and Drew, y'all know they wanted Ralph at that reunion. So I don't think that is accurate. I think what more than likely happened was Ralph made certain requests. And that is what maybe Allison was speaking to. To say that he asked to be at the reunion, I don't believe that. They wanted him at that reunion. They wanted him at that reunion. Now, there might have been certain requests that he made, like them having that one-on-one sit down, things of that nature. I don't know. She said that when she saw Courtney come out of her dressing room and walk into Ralph's dressing room, she said she saw her walk up on Ralph and give him a hug. And she said it ain't look right to her. She said something ain't look right to her. So she started walking in the dressing room to sort of confront them, like, what the hell? And she said that Courtney tried to slam the door in her face. And that's when, she said, and then she called her a bitch. This whole thing about Courtney saying she never uses the word, but she said Courtney called her a bitch. And Allison said she sort of blacked out, child. She said she don't even remember what happened after that. She said all she knows is that Andy was out there trying to, separate and break it up. And she said that she was upset. She called her mom and was like, damn, I think I might have just got Drew fired Because hell, Andy had to get involved. You know, she was really upset. Again, I'm gonna say this. I ain't mad at you. If you saw that and it ain't look right to you, I ain't even mad at you for confronting it. And I ain't mad at you. And then if the girl called you out your name and tried to slam the door in your face, look, I ain't mad at none of that. Right? It absolutely is, Nikki. It is giving very Trina and Mike for Why Did I Get Married? You ain't lying. High Vibe. Candy hasn't forgiven anybody. I don't. High Vibe said Candy picks the oddest people to forgive. Courtney is thirsty and clearly manipulative. I don't think having her on speak when it means that she's forgiven her. She just gave her the opportunity to talk. She, again, Candy has opened up the door to everybody to be on speak on it. She's invited Nene, well, everybody except for Phaedra. I don't think Phaedra ever gonna get that invitation, but she's invited people that she's got beef with. I don't think that's an indication that she's forgiving Courtney. I just think that was an indication of, I know this is gonna make for good TV and somebody gonna come and watch it. I mean, honestly, that's what I think. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Candy invites everybody to speak on it. So yeah, it's one of those things where she alluded, when she told her version of the story, she alluded to something didn't look right with the whole Courtney Ralph thing. Something ain't look right to her. And again, I think all of us, well, when I say all of us, everybody except for Ebby, because Ebby the only one that's in here that don't watch the show. But all of us, I love you, Ebby. But I know I feel the same way. Like I've been telling y'all that ain't his cousin, that's his mistress. That ain't his cousin. I've been telling y'all that. Now that's just my opinion. I don't know that to be a fact, but I absolutely do not believe that they are related by marriage, by blood. I mean, other than the way all us black folk are related. They don't know each other. And again, even if they did, even if all of that is true, the fact that you have become so close to this man in the last 6 months that you never knew, child, by that he telling you all his business, all his marital business, all his private business, child, by the other thing that she said that I thought was really good information, that might have Courtney is the mistress, his standards are in the pits of hell. Right. The DNA test concluded that they are not cousins, child. My brother suffers from mental issues, and I did not know what mental health was until he explained it to me. My whole life, I did not know he was suffering from that. Now I have a better understanding. Exactly. Well, not Ebby said, tell her the business while she bouncing on his lap. Ooh! This is something that I did not know. Going back to the mental health conversation, that now, if you know somebody that might be in crisis, instead of calling 911, you can call 988. And that brings out the mental health professionals and not the police, because we do know that a lot of times police don't know how to properly deal with and handle people who are going through a mental health crisis. And unfortunately, that's how people get, hurt by the police. So I did not know that. So that's a good thing to know. I told you guys, I grew up dealing with my best friend's mom. And she's been on this platform and she's spoken candidly about her mom's mental health issues. So I'm not telling nobody's business, but I know that there were times where I wish we had that option. Because calling 911 created a whole another issue sometimes. P, who you responded to? I mean, are you just putting a statement, or are you responding to somebody in particular? Oh, you did. Jaylee did exactly what you want folks to do. Share the video and speak on it. Candy had her video struck a mess. And then Pete said the creator can strike you, period, especially if they took the video down. So I don't really have an opinion because I don't have no beef with Jaylee. You know, I like Jay Lee, and of course I like Candy. Let me say this. Oh, no problem, Pete. Let me just say this. Y'all know how when I show videos and I pause and I stop and I give my commentary, and you know how y'all don't like it. And when I say y'all, you know I ain't talking about y'all. You know I'm talking about people in general. People make comments, stop talking so much. We just want to hear the video play straight through. We can't do that. There are rules to using other people's content. Jay Lee's issue was they could have reached out to me and I would have taken the video down. Because the thing about a strike is, if you get a strike, if you get 3 strikes within a 90-day time period, you can lose your channel. A strike is serious. And so Jay Lee's thing was, hey, you could have just sent me an email. You could have just reached out to me and I would have taken the video down. But once that strike is there, she can appeal it and she may or may not win the appeal. I don't know. But that just means that she's got to be very careful for the next 90 days, which that's 3 months. And when you're a creator and if you go live every day, that's a lot. You know, and it's scary when you've been working on your channel and building your channel and getting your subscribers. It's a scary feeling. So I understand where she was coming from. I understand where Candy was coming from. Well, Candy's team, because I don't think Candy did it. I see both sides of the conversation, but that's that. I listened to Jay Lee's live earlier, and that's what she was more upset about, was the fact that, you know, she was like, I would have taken it down if I knew that it was an issue. Yeah. So that's all I gotta say about that. I really thought it was fair use and understood why Jay Lee was upset. Agreed, really be. You know, I think, yeah. So I'm gonna just leave it at that. Yeah. I'm gonna leave it at that. Overall, and again, I'm not saying everything because I want you guys. Well, a lot of y'all seem like y'all already saw the video, but if you have not watched Mim's video, Make It Make Sense, please make sure y'all go over there. My mods, can you drop Mim's link and make sure that you guys are checking Mims out over on Make It Make Sense. It was a great interview, and I'm so happy for him. I know this is something he's been working on for a while. I'm so happy for him. And we will reschedule our live probably next week, because tomorrow I do the live with Busy B, the Big Brother Roundup with Busy B, and then the weekends are just the weekends. So I think one day next week we'll do it. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. There's Mims' YouTube channel if you guys can go check it out. But before I get ready to get out of here, first of all, if you have not hit the like button, we have almost 300 people in the chat. If you haven't hit the like button, can you please do me a favor and do it right now? It's free 99. And if you are not subscribed to the channel, if you are new over here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We have a good time. If you came over for Mims, I appreciate you. And I do, so I don't ask y'all for no money. Well, sometimes I do ask for donations for my classrooms and stuff, but I don't ask y'all for no money. So if you could just give me a like and a subscribe, would be great. Now let me give y'all this little bit of tea before I get out of here. Remember, I told y'all I was gonna give y'all another good video to go watch before we get out of here. So earlier today, how many people in here been following that Sherry Strawberry story? Thank you so much, IF. That cherry straw, what's her name? Strawberry, the strawberry lettuce from Steve Harvey. Y'all know her husband was arrested. He's been sitting in jail for a year. He got all kinds of cases against him. We done talked about some of those cases. Baby, I do not know what color my hair is. My hairdresser, I just do blonde, whatever blondness is, and my hairdresser just mixes it. I've been getting my hair colored for years, and it's the same. I've been going to my same hairdresser for years. I have been dyeing my hair blonde for probably, it's like a honey blonde. But I don't have an actual name for it. She just mixes it up, child. Baby, if y'all wasn't over in Pam, the Law Intellect X-Quiz live earlier today, can y'all drop Pam's link in the chat? If you have been following the Sherry Strawberry case with her husband, baby, Pam got a copy of some of them jailhouse phone calls, and that's public information. She tells you the website where she got it from, child. She tells you where where she got it from, baby. Now you want to talk about some juicy juice. Shirley, thank you. Shirley Strawberry. Y'all go on over there. Y'all go to Mims and y'all check out that whole interview. And then y'all take y'all on over there to Pam's channel. And y'all listen to some of them jailhouse calls, baby. She has a call from Ernesto to Shirley when he first got arrested. She got a call from Ernesto to his alleged mistress. She got a call from Ernesto to one of his boys. And then she got a second call from Ernesto to Shirley. Baby, y'all better go check that thing out over there and hear what's going on with this Shirley Strawberry situation. It's some good stuff. It was earlier today. I'm telling y'all, baby, it was a good stuff. Right, little baby? He told his mistress, pack that thing, his alleged mistress. He said, when that thing get hot, just pack that thing for me. Listen, let me tell you something. That phone call with the mistress is not safe for work. So if you listening to it, put your earbuds in. Don't listen to it in front of your churn. Don't have it on the speaker at work. I'm telling you, it is not safe for work, okay? It is very sexual. Okay? Now that ain't how he was talking to Shirley. Shirley's conversations is PG-13. Shirley, the conversations with his wife is PG-13. The conversations with the alleged mistress, that's the one you need to put your earbuds in for. You can't, everybody can't hear those. But anyway. Why do people talk freaky? I think people really forget that those phone calls are recorded and can be used. Like I really think people forget that. But anyway, y'all. So y'all let me know what y'all think. I'm about to get off here so I can watch Big Brother. Don't forget tomorrow, Busy Blue and myself will be here tomorrow night for the Big Brother roundup. And baby, we got a lot to talk about. A lot of stuff happened. Don't tell nobody. Please don't give me any spoilers in the chat. I have not looked at the episode yet. I came live with y'all. So I'm about to go watch it now and find out who got evicted and all that other stuff, child. But with that, right, on his phone calls with Shirley, he doing Bible study, child. Anyway, y'all, let me get off of here. I love y'all. Thank y'all for being here. I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. And again, congratulations, Mims. Shout out to you. And I will talk to y'all later. Peace.